Who's the more foolish? The fool? Or the person who watches Xerath modding videos? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We're going to talk about 8 characters you're probably modding poorly, because, you know, that's the title of my videos these days, to make people feel inadequate enough to click. No, that's actually not. I don't want people to feel inadequate, and that's why I want to show you how to mod things better if necessary. Let's jump in. Mount the algorithm, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and stuff. Comment if you can. Just a reminder, if you like this video. If you don't like it, still hit that thumbs up button as twisted feedback on how much you object to this awful video. Right? Let's get going. Whoa, madness. It's Grievous. So keep in mind, folks, I'm not... these videos are in response to people who have asked me how to mod things lately, and you know, I get a lot of the questions on how to mod things, on how to do things, and so some of these are going to be repeats of past modding videos. That's just not going to be avoidable. That being said, Grievous has been asked a lot lately for some reason. I really don't know. I don't know if there's just like this crazy amount of new players that just don't know anything about Grievous or what, but he seems really simple on the surface, guys. You want him to have lots of health, because all of the stuff he does is based off, all of the damage he does is based on his max health. His offense doesn't matter, so like the 8.5% extra offense you get from this mod, nothing. Doesn't get anything from him. If there was some kind of character that like shared his offense or something, then that might matter, but it doesn't. So the thing that you really want to do with today's modern Grievous, like sure, you want potency on him so that you can land debuffs, and you want health so that you can do damage. The biggest other thing for him is you want a lot of speed, so that if you wanted to go with a BB-8 as your 5th character on the squad, he is able to outspeed Mara Jade, even the really fast ones, who is with a Star Killer squad. You really want him to be able to outspeed them. So in that case, you want speed. You want speed, and you want potency to land target lock, because your whole team needs target lock like crazy. And even though you ramp up to target lock to high potency levels, you want to have a good solid base so you can start debuffing them immediately, because a couple turns matter. Now you have, not to mention all the other effects that your AoE has, like decreasing their turn meter, etc. So I have a lot of speed on here, and yes, I know this is like almost like a humble brag kind of character. Like I have very fast mods on him, but the thing I want to point out is the potency that I have here is secondary, because he doesn't start with a lot of potency anyways. So any potency that you can get along the way, so that, I mean, this obviously could be more. You could also have a little bit more health, of course. You know, offense, that you don't really want that, but the potency is wonderful. Tenacity is okay, I guess. The potency, and remember, health everywhere. You could put a crit damage triangle here. Health or crit damage, they're probably about the same. I think crit damage is slightly better, actually. And then you could actually have a really high health secondary here to help you out. And I think that's probably the most ideal, in fact. But this is what I've got, and I'm sticking to it for now. I mean, a 24 speed health triangle is just tough to get, so it doesn't even have potency. It's not as cool. So you know, lots of health, all the health. That's what we've got for Grievous. Next up, we have Mon Mothma. She is a really tricky one, actually, folks, because she wants to be fast, but she isn't fast on her own, really. She also, her whole team, what are you gonna counter? I mean, they all do this really cool stat sharing thing, and it doesn't seem like much, but so they all gain 8% of their combined base, max health, max protection, offense, defense, potency, and tenacity. So they share all of these stats, and that's why I'm always like, man, I would love to have a fully Relic 8 Mon Mothma team. That would be so cool. I've mostly they're just Relic 5. She is Relic 7 because I had Datacrons on her at some point. Her leader, her own Datacron. The thing that I like the most with Mon Mothma is making sure that they don't get debuffed. So putting a lot of tenacity on all characters on her squad is really nice. The other thing is I want her to go as early as possible so she can summon worthless guys. So you can start dispelling debuffs, get an extra shot in to help Pow be able to shoot things. Wow, there's Pow, there's Plo, and there's Poe. And then there's Resistance Hero Poe. There's all kinds of POs, POSs. But otherwise, we want, so I have a lot of tenacity on her. The other thing is I want her to have a lot of speed. So I mean, again, I've had 6 years to accumulate mods, right? I've been working on mods for 6 years. So this isn't, they're good mods. This isn't me trying to just show them off, but like I want to prioritize. She from her kit, she gets 50% or 50 extra speed. So if she can get her over 300 speed, that's pretty fancy. This is actually lightning speed for Mon Mothma. And actually we could get a way faster diamond here if we wanted to. I don't know if that's necessary, but as much tenacity and potency as you can. Potency is another nice thing because everyone's pooling together their potency, and it's quite a bit. 8% of the total amount of potency on the whole squad actually adds up to be quite a bit if you sit down and do the math. I'm not going to do it for you, but you know, so she could be a minimum of 3 speed faster if I wanted to do it. I just, you know, you want 6E on everything, right? So yeah, I just actually rolled this. It was a plus 15 speed, just like, I don't know, earlier this evening, and I rolled a 5 and a 6 in a row. And so offense, I mean, that's the thing. She still gives, even though she doesn't attack, she still gives offense to the rest of her team. So they take this, 8% of this goes out to the rest of the team, along with 8% of all the rest of them. So tenacity as much as you can so that she can't be debuffed. The whole team wants to just never be debuffed. So she's 163, but then she's also 8% of from whatever everyone else is sharing. This is like she's going to be over 200% tenacity pretty easily. And those are the two stats I focus on, speed and tenacity. And then what other stats you want on her is great, but those are the ones that I think are the best because she wants to go you know, as close to first as she can on her team. Kyle's going to go first, of course, and then mess up the turn order because Pow is going to go next, etc. But alright, Count Dooku is one that I've been warring with for a while because he's Relic 8 because he's a requirement character, and I wouldn't normally want to put him at Relic 8. I wanted to keep him at like Gear 8 because he's kind of worthless a lot of times, but he can be annoying, especially like in 3v3. He can do some annoying things, and so the things that you really want from Count Dooku, like he hits back, he hits under protection, and he's able to do some of these things. Like one of the things that I think people forget to take into account, though, his first move is this Master of Makashi, which gives himself the riposte ability, which, you know, that was like the set 2 Datacron ability that you hit under protection, but he doesn't do that much damage. The other thing, though, is he puts stealth on himself, he dispels debuffs, and he gives Separatist allies 15% turn meter, which may or may not help you, because a lot of times you'll throw him with like Sith or whatever, but the thing about it is he's going to go into stealth and not be hit that often, and then he's going to be trying to stun on everything. So this one, these attacks have a 50% chance to inflict stun and ability block. Ability block, it can be super annoying if he's consistently doing it. And then his Force Lightning is also going to stun people using special damage, blah, 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 but they have 50% chance. So if he can go first and get a couple stuns off, like he's going to go into hiding first, and then he's going to be able to start stunning people. And the way you want, so you're not going to get a huge amount of use out of him, to be honest, but the way you get the most use out of him is going to be through the use of stuns and ability blocks. Ability blocks, so stuns don't work on Galactic Legends, of course, but ability block does work on them. So if you have him set up to be fairly fast, to be able to like kind of, if a Galactic Legend does their AoE, then he's able to like kind of hide and heal from that, recuperate, and then he can strike from the shadows. And hopefully Bam doesn't target him and just wipe him out. Like, that's one of my favorite uses of Beskar Mando, is Dooku in stealth. But the way I have him modded, this is a little, I mean, does he deserve this fast of mods? Probably not, but you want him to have a really decent potency, and then you want him to be pretty fast if it's idealized. And then he doesn't have any protection regeneration on his own, so you want to just give him a lot of health. instead, because he does regenerate. He has a lot of health steal, and he regenerates his health really nicely. And so you can get to a point, especially in Earth early accounts, if you put him on defensive people, he keeps hitting back so often. If you don't have a way to contain him, he's actually able to just indefinitely counter you to death, and it's pretty annoying. He can be one of the most annoying characters. So giving him some speed and potency is pretty nice, I would say. He's not like the priority though, and giving him a lot of offense is just, or defense for, armor for that matter. They're just, I don't know, he doesn't hit that hard. Like he's just an annoying character. He doesn't hit hard. He just like annoys you to death, kind of. I know some kids like that. All right, Aurra Singh, old antenna face herself, is a character that I actually think is more complicated than most people assume she is. So she's, of course, she wants to be able to, as the lead, that's when you usually use her. She's going to be able to do some stuff. And yes, she has an ability to do some more damage in a raid, and maybe eventually we'll want to do that. I wouldn't even recommend it for the Sith raid, because it's specifically against Topple. However, she is actually one of the only characters who has a specific high-end ability that targets the raid. The other ones being like, what is it, Boosh or Scando? I forget what character, but one way or another, the thing that I think a lot of people overlook, well, two things, in fact. Number one, she does a crazy amount of damage once she's relicked, and she is a requirement character now with Jabba at Relic 6, so she does a crazy amount of damage now, if you mod her right. So give her something to do with offense. I give her crit damage, just because I have extra crit damage stuff. The other thing that you really want to pay attention to here, though, folks, like you want to learn her lead and learn her kit and how she interacts with bounty hunters, but we're not going to get into that right now. You want her to be fast enough to work with your bounty hunters, etc. But the biggest thing that the most utility I've found, like her big hit is nice. The nicer thing though is, and it's not consistent, it doesn't even proc every time, but 70% chance to stun with her pistols, with her basic. And then if you can call her to assist, bounty hunters have a lot of that. Bosk does it, Grief does it, Mando does that. And if she just uses her basic to stun, it's really nice. And so what I have with her, I don't care. I find I don't care as much about damage, because if I want damage, I get Fennec or I get Mando. Those are the two that I care about for damage. Like, yeah, sure, Aurra, anything you can contribute is great, but you're here to facilitate me getting my early contract. That's what she really cares about the most. That's what you should care about the most. And then otherwise, it's just like, yeah, whatever else you can give is great, but like the stun is the thing. Like keeping control of the situation is a bigger deal. And so I put a potency cross on her. Actually, I should probably upgrade this to 6E, but one way or another, like a potency cross is really nice, and then some offense secondary, that's pretty good. And then you can do crit damage and stuff. Let's see, what is her crit chance? It's not even really that high, even at Relic 6. So I mean, you could potentially just throw some crit chance on her as well, because you want her to crit, I suppose. And then, just some generic other stuff, just like a potency set and a potency cross, along with some damage. Just kind of, she's there for other things than damage, usually. Like, yes, I realize you can mod her to get some crazy damage off, but really, if you're relying on Aurra Singh to be your main primary damage dealer on a bounty hunter squad, you're probably not doing it right, if I'm just being honest. Antenna Face can do a lot of things, but being the primary damage dealer is probably not the thing you want to, it's not the crutch you want to rely on. Now, alright, I think, yeah, we haven't talked about tech yet. I just did a video showing tech, so I was like, wait, what do I do? Alright, so tech, there's a lot going on with tech as well, obviously. In the context of a Bad Batch team, usually you're going to want Hunter Lead, and Hunter Lead gives you 40 extra potency. So giving him a decent amount of potency is really nice, because you really, really rely on the teams that he counters. You want to stun the whole team if possible. Obviously, they have a 15% chance to resist, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's just written in to every debuff unless it's unresistible entirely. But Hunter gives him a chance to potentially hit everyone with it and stun everyone, and that's a key to hopefully being able to counter things with Bad Batch as currently constructed. And so what you also want to do is when Echo goes, Echo's gonna go be first, he's gonna be the fastest, he's gonna roll up, and hopefully he's gonna go first, and he's gonna dispel all their buffs, all the opponent's buffs. And if they started with buffs, you get 5% turn meter per buff that is dispelled. And so what's happening is his speed, it becomes so relative. You really need him to go second. Echo's gonna go first, dispel the buffs, gives you enough oomph to actually get there, but you need enough to bridge from your Echo to your Tech. And so Tech is gonna get plus 10 speed if he's in 5v5, only plus 6 if not, due to his Zeta material. And then after that you get to the 5% turn meter boost from Echo, and that should let you bridge from one character to another on the teams that you need to be able to go. So then you get the debuffs from Echo, you get the stun from Tech, and then after that you can kind of just run the table with them. But the ability to gain a bunch of speed is just really nice. Oh, that's right, he also gives himself potency as well, because of other things in his kit. We don't need to talk about his whole kit, but like potency and speed, guys, that's the main concern as it relates to Echo and his speed. So alright, those are the first 3. Let's talk about the first 5. Let's talk about the last 3 on the list, folks, as quickly as we can. Savage, before he got his Omicron, I was just like, nah, don't even bother, guys. Now he has an Omicron, it makes him pretty obnoxious to kill. You guys can go and read the Omicron it's on in Grand Arena. He gains extra defense, he gains extra health, all of this stuff, extra speed. He's going to be hitting a ton back. He does all this stuff, so you want him on a team where he's probably the primary tank. And you can put him as the lead because he gives himself extra defense because he's Sith, and extra tenacity, etc. However, otherwise, he's pretty simple, guys. A lot of people have asked me this, though. How do you mod Savage? And the answer is, he's not the one who's going to kill people. He's going to time people out, and that's magic on its own. And then, otherwise, you just, honestly, I think the defense sets here are a little bit wasted. I think for the most part, you just want health. The protection doesn't do much for you. You just want a bunch of health. I apparently have some fairly fast mods on him. Plus 24 is maybe a little crazy, but just health, guys. Tons and tons of health if you can. And then, honestly, the health sets would probably do more. The defense is nice, because then he's not going to be able to do as much to you. They're not going to be doing as much damage to you, but one way or another, health and defense, and that's about it. Like, the offense, if you're trying to rely on him to be the damage dealer, it's not going to work as well. Kyle Katarn is a character that people ask me about a lot because he actually has a lot going on for him. I think the 2 best things for him, and honestly this can't be overstated, he wants to be able to apply his debuffs. Actually, as crazy as that sounds, putting a potency cross on him is actually just really scary. When I see people who put potency crosses on, I'm like, well, he doesn't do as much damage, but man, he's going to be able to apply all his debuffs that he wants. And that initial hit with the basic, if he, like, a lot of times people miss when his first turn, when he gets to go, I should say, he gets to do a basic. If he does a basic, it inflicts ability block for a turn. And whereas when he's called to assist, it doesn't do ability block. However, that ability block is a big deal, and that's why you want extra potency on him. Otherwise, he is pure damage. You also want him to be somewhere in the range of 280 speed, because he gains enough turn meter that he turns into, 400 speed, something like that in 5v5, or significantly less in 3v3, of course, which I just realized I've been counting on him being 400 speed lately, which is why everyone's been going before him. But otherwise, yeah, some speed and then lots of offense, guys. Tons of offense. He has some pretty ruinously fast mods on him himself, because I'm just humble bragging today, apparently. Look at that. He's got a couple 27s and a 12. Well, look at you. But he's got a lot of potency on this one, I guess, is the big thing. So I guess we could probably do the calibration thing and move the speed a little. Looks like I tried that once. Didn't stick, but even like an offense arrow is pretty nice on him. And I mean, that's it. Like, potency is this secret, the hidden thing that people don't realize that Kyle Katarn wants, but he really wants it real bad. And then finally, we have Moff Gideon, which is a character that, I mean, I had him in the same video as Tech, actually, I think, but he's a little bit sneaky as well. Like, he wants to be really fast, and yes, this is maybe the most humble brag ever, because this is a very fast speed. It's not the fastest, but it is. There's not too many 380 speed Moff Gideons in the game, and so the idea is you want fast speed set because he's one of the fastest characters in the game, and then the thing about his kit is he can reset everyone's speed, and so he uses his ability, his second special, sorry, to be able. His third special is pretty good too. It's AoE days for what it's worth, but all units lose 100% turn meter, which can't be resisted unless you're immune to it, like so Padme or Darth Vader. There's a few key characters that are immune to it. However, he reduces everyone's turn meter, and then he gives all of his team 25% turn meter, and then he causes everyone to taunt, do all this stuff. He does a lot of fancy stuff. The thing about him is, so you want him to go first so that he can do that, and then the other big thing about him, and arguably more important than the turn meter reduction, is the demoralized debuff, which means that all characters that are facing him that have demoralized are minus 50% offense, and then they have less crit chance and less crit damage, and it's just, I mean, it's very demoralizing to face someone like that. So the thing is, that debuff doesn't take place until he takes a turn. And so if Han and Chewie, for instance, are on the enemy team, they might try to snipe your Gideon out, and so you want him to also be fairly resilient. Once he actually gets a turn, then he becomes more resilient, and therefore the big thing is going first, and then if you don't get to go first, because there are a few characters that might try to alpha strike him, take him out earlier, then you just want a lot of like health or protection. I mean, I chose to go the health route. I think protection is probably equally as good, just to get alpha struck right away, just like right out the gate. And then of course you can put relic levels on him to get more of this. Like you get more out of health the more relic levels you get, because that's usually on your boost that you get from relics. But one way or another, guys, I mean, that's you want crazy speed so that he goes first. And then you also, if it doesn't get to go first, you want him to survive until his mechanic can kick in to keep him and the rest of your team alive. And that is it for today, folks. We've got the 8 characters, and 8 characters are done. So just a reminder, help me mount the algorithm. Hit that thumbs up button if you liked the video. If you want more of it, ding the bell, do all the things with the stuff. I'm going to call it good, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.